For generations, the question has echoed, where did Cain's wife come from? The Bible seems to leave a gap. But what if the answer wasn't a gap at all, but a hidden truth right in front of us? What you're about to discover isn't just a genealogical detail, it's the secret behind the first murder, a truth most sermons ignore, and that will challenge everything you thought you knew about the foundation of humanity. The answer lies in a short verse from Genesis 4, and it reveals not only the identity of his wife, but also the reason he was able to build a city and the reason he was never the same again. Brace yourself. The shocking truth about Cain's wife will be revealed in a moment. Cain. The name evokes the first bloodshed, the primordial envy. The man who, in an act of rage and jealousy, took the life of his brother Abel. But God's punishment was more than exile. It was a curse of loneliness, of wandering aimlessly through the earth. He left the presence of the Lord and set out for the land of Nod, east of Eden, a banished murderer, a marked man. Can you imagine a man like that, condemned to eternal solitude? It was at this moment, in this limbo of guilt and despair, that the Bible gives us its most enigmatic clue. Genesis 4:17 says, Cain had sex with his wife, and she conceived and gave birth to Enoch. Suddenly, the cursed man is no longer alone. He has a family. But who was this family? And why, in a world of only 3 people, didn't the Bible name her? To understand the story, we have to go back a little. Before the murder, before the exile, the beginning of everything. Adam and Eve, after being expelled from Eden, began to have children. The key verse is not in chapter 4, but in Genesis 5:4, which says, And after he begot Seth, Adam lived 800 years and begot other sons and daughters. Got it? Sons and daughters. The biblical narrative, which seems so linear, actually hides a key piece. Before the tragedy of Abel occurred, there were already younger brothers and sisters growing up in Cain's shadow. Now return to the moment when Cain is banished. He is alone. In a newly created world, his only source of companionship and a future wife would be, by necessity, his own family. The question is not where did she come from, but why did she follow him? According to the fictional theologian, Dr. Elias Ben Zion, an expert on apocryphal texts in ancient Hebrew, Jewish tradition, especially in texts like the Book of Jubilees, is very clear on this. Demographic necessity and the absence of others outside the nuclear family left no alternative. Cain was not the only one to marry a sister. This was the norm of the time. Dr. Elias Ben Zion, voiceover. What is truly fascinating is not that she was his sister, but that the Bible left her anonymous, perhaps to protect her name, or, and this is the most widely accepted thesis, to highlight Cain's role as the founder of a new clan. He was the center of this new society, and she was, to some extent, an accessory to this new destiny. Cain's wife, therefore, did not come from a distant land. She was part of that first family group of Adam and Eve. And this brings us to an even more disturbing question. Who was she? The Bible doesn't name her, but the apocryphal texts do. The Book of Jubilees and other ancient texts identify her as Awan, Cain's sister, born 4 years after him. But what else does her story tell us? Why would a woman who witnessed her brother's death choose to follow his killer into an uncertain future? Why would she build a life alongside a cursed man? And here's the shocking truth. Cain's wife, Awan, didn't follow him out of love. She followed him out of necessity. Ayan had a role to fulfill. But the big plot twist is that, according to some traditions, Awan wasn't just a sister. She was a twin. An apocryphal text, the Gospel of Nicodemus, suggests that each of Adam and Eve's first children was born with a twin sister, and that Cain coveted Abel's twin sister. So the truth is not only that Cain's wife was his sister, but that she was the sister he already had, but he coveted Abel's. This adds a layer of jealousy and possessiveness that changes the entire narrative. Cain's wife, Awan, was not just a victim of fate, she was part of a darker plan, a key piece in the chessboard of power and blood. And this raises the question, did Awan follow Cain out of Eden because she loved him, or because she too was tired of living in Abel's shadow? What if the Bible didn't appoint her to protect Cain, but to protect us from the truth of who she really was? The accomplice or the true mastermind behind the first fall?